Hello, good evening. Welcome to this event with the Federation of Scotland and Ships. We are having a collaborative event tonight for the first time. Really looking forward to see what we do in the future. It's great to see you all here. And we are celebrating World Book Night tonight. If anyone doesn't want to be recorded, please let me know and I will pause the film as we go. So it might be juddery and watching back. My apologies for that. I'm going to kick us off by reading my favourite poem ever, which is the great Robert Frost, and it's The Star Splitter. There's just something about the courage and the lack of care as to what anybody else says about him that absolutely gets me in this. So this is a Star Splitter. You know, Orion always comes up sideways, thrown a leg over our fence of mountains, and rising on his hands, he looks in on me, busy outdoors by lantern light with something I should have done by daylight. And indeed, after the ground is frozen, I should have done before it froze. And a gust flings a handful of waste leaves to my smoky lantern chimney to make fun of my ways of doing things, or else fun of Orion's having caught me. As a man, I should like to ask no rights. These forces are obliged to pay respect to. So Brad McLaughlin mingled reckless talk of heavenly stars with hugger-mugger farming, till having failed at hugger-mugger farming, he burnt his house down for the fire insurance and proceeds to spend the proceeds on a telescope to satisfy a lifelong curiosity about our place amongst the infinities. What do you want one of those things for? I asked him well beforehand. Don't you get one? Don't call it blame. There isn't anything more blameless in the sense of being less a weapon in our human fight, he said. I'll have one if I have to sell my farm to buy it. There, where he moved the rocks to plough the ground and plough between the rocks he couldn't move, few farms changed hands. So rather than spend years trying to sell his farm and then not selling, he burned his house down for the fire insurance and bought the telescope with what it came to. He'd been heard to say by several, the best thing we're put here for is to see. The strongest thing that's given us to see was a telescope. Someone in every town, seems to me, owes it to the town to keep one. In Littleton, it may as well be me. After such loose talk, it was no surprise when he did what he did and burned his house down. Mean laughter went about the town that day to let him know we weren't the least imposed on, and he could wait. We'd see on him tomorrow. But the first thing next morning, we reflected. If one by one we counted people out for the least sin, it would take us so long to get, so we'd nowhere left to live with. For to be social is to be forgiving. Our thief, the one who does not steal from us, we don't cut off from coming to church suppers, but what we miss, we go to him and ask for. He promptly gives it back. That is if still it's not been uneaten, unworn out, or disposed of. It wouldn't do to be too hard on Brad about his telescope. Beyond the age of being given one for Christmas, he had to take the best way he knew how to find one for himself. Well, after all was said, he took a strange thing to be roguish about. Some sympathy was wasted on the house, a good old timer dating back along. But a house isn't sentient. The house didn't feel anything. And if it did, why not regard sacrifice, an old-fashioned sacrifice by fire, instead of a new-fashioned one at auction? Out of a house, and so out of a farm, at one stroke of a match, Brad had to turn to earn a living on the Concord Railroad, an under-ticket agent at a station, where his job when he wasn't selling tickets was setting up tracks up and down, not plants, as on a farm, but planets, evening stars, that varied in their hue from red to green. He got a good glass for $600. His new job gave him leisure for stargazing. Often he bid me to come and have a look up the brass barrel, velvet black inside, at a star quaking in the other end. I recollect a night of broken clouds, and underfoot snow melted down to ice, and melting further in the wind to mud. Bradford and I had out the telescope. We spread our two legs as wide as its three, pointed our thoughts the way we pointed it, and standing at our leisure till the day broke, some said the best things we ever said. That telescope was christened the Star Splitter, because it didn't do a thing but split a star in two or three the way you split a globule of quicksilver in your hand. With one stroke of your finger in the middle, it was a star splitter if ever there was one, and ought to do some good at splitting stars. Things supposed to be compared with splitting wood. We looked and we looked, but that's all where we were. Do we know any better where we are, and how it stands between the night tonight and a man with a smoky lantern chimney? How different from how it ever stood. How different from how it ever stood. That's the line for me, that last one. Thank you very much for indulging me. Can I please ask if Catherine would read for us next?
Hello, everyone. I've picked to read a bit of from New Writing Scotland. It's a story I have in New Writing Scotland. This one is 39, and I realised when I picked it up that Carol Mackay's in it, which is well known to the Federation. So I'm going to read a small part of this. It's called The Owl, the Cat and Me. There's a baby owl living under our wardrobe, I told my class. Anticipation descended as an array of faces looked at me, and then our teacher. Mrs. Strachan favoured a blank expression, just sucking in her cheeks slightly. In the spare room, I added. Robbie Telford and his pals tittered at the back of the room while I stared right at our teacher, waiting for questions, admiration, intrigue. But Mrs. Strachan only looked at me, cleared her throat, and announced, No, Rebecca, owls don't live in houses. They live in woodlands and trees and perhaps barns. Definitely not in wardrobes. Under the wardrobe, I said, not in it, as if that would be ridiculous. Everyone knows owls can't open doors. Mrs. Strachan used the same look on her face as the one Mum has when she's trying to stave off a headache. We have to keep the spare room door shut, of course, I added, to keep Mr. Beano out. Mr. Beano, said Mrs. Strachan, keeping her eyes blank and face straight and looking like she didn't want to know the answer. He's our cat, I said. He would be very interested in the baby owl, for all the wrong reasons. That was the way Mum had explained it to Hannah and me, and I'd liked the sound of it, so I figured that was the best sentence to sum up why the owl and the cat couldn't be in the same room, not like that stupid poem about a pea-green boat. And how does the owl get food living under your wardrobe? Said Mrs. Strachan, and I heard Robbie Telford do a pretend cough and a stage muttering aloud, McDonald's, at the same time. The parents tap on the window and we let them in. We sit on the bed very quietly and watch them feed the baby owl. It's an owlet, actually, I said. Mrs. Strachan pursed her lips, and I knew I had gone too far. Adults always hate it when you know stuff they think you don't know. Fascinating, said Mrs. Strachan, with her face not looking fascinated. It was looking like she was counting down the minutes until lunchtime. Miss, bellowed Robbie, I've a crocodile under my bed. I do. It eats my homework. Mrs. Strachan turned back towards her desk, but I saw her roll her eyes so hard it must have hurt. I searched out Lily MacLeod and caught her eye. She stared back at me and then turned her gaze down to her desk. Disappointment pinched at me. She knew about the owlet, and she knew about Uncle George, but now she acted like I made both things up. I could bring in a photo, I said, my face sounding whiny. Desperation leaked from me like a hose with punctures. Watching that baby owl every night was the only nice thing in my life, and no one even believed it was real. Okay, Rebecca, you do that, said Mrs. Strachan in a tight voice, like she thought there was no chance this would ever happen. Perhaps she was thinking about how many days until the end of term, how many days of freedom she would have until she had to start again with 30 new faces in front of her, a new Robbie Telford playing the class clown, and a new Rebecca Davis of Tall Tales. No one would use that look on me if I had proof. Tonight I would get my phone and sit quietly with Hannah on the spare room bed, ready to press record. I would wait until the tapping at the window started, and then I would use my thumb on the red button and film the owl parents edging forward on the open windowsill. I would train the camera on them flying into the room and depositing food for the fluffy owlet, which lived under the wardrobe, ever since the day they flew down the chimney. We would sit like statues until the parents left, and we had pushed the window shut, and the owlet had shuffled under the wardrobe again. And then, like every evening, I would say to Hannah the same message I always told her. Don't be alone with Uncle George, ever. Promise me. She was only 6, but she was old enough to know that I meant it. Okay, Becca, she had said to me that night, like she did every night. But I like Uncle George. Of course she did. He made her laugh, brought us sweeties and DVDs, offered to babysit us when Mum went to visit Dad in hospital. He's just pretending to be nice, I had told her. She looked at me like I was crazy. She looked at me the same way Mrs. Strachan looked when I told her there was an owl under the wardrobe. I'll stop there. I would like to also recommend a book. This book here, Us in the Before and After by Jenny Valentine. I think it came out 2 years ago. I think it's technically young adult, but I would highly recommend it to any readers. It's a really interesting story, and Jenny's a fantastic writer. So I would like to read just maybe the first sort of page and a half to give you to set the scene. So chapter 1's called The Ladybird. We're sitting in the cemetery, me and my best friend Mab, cracking jokes about the bowling club and how close it is to the graves. I'm drinking warm cider from a can, and Mab is chain smoking these roll-ups she found at the party. Tiny, like doll's fingers. She stuffed an endless supply in her pockets before the walk home. I remember her face when she was doing it, glowing with fury. I don't even like them, she says, but I guess now it's something to do. I have stopped trying to decide if this is the best or the worst thing we could be doing with our summer. It might not be an either or answer. Mab says maybe it's both. Don't exactly have a whole world of options, I know that much, but I would like to go back to the time before the black hole currently swallowing up my centre was just a pinprick. Just a subatomic particle of loss. I'd go back further, if I could, to before the party, and before what happened next. I know everyone would. You still banging on about atoms, Mab says, like she can hear what I'm thinking. Nothing changes, I tell her. She nods her head, even when everything does. She's net curtain thin, just a veil of herself, freckles like the start of rain on dry ground, little scar above her eyebrow, wet, bright shine of teeth. When I blink, her features dip and spread like running paint. There are drag marks down her right flank, pure tarmac, a rip in her dress, bone deep. The bruise on her temple is black and shadowed where a piece of her skull has caved in. She turns and grins at me, a mouthful of yellowing smoke. My beautiful friend. Do you want one, she says, taking a drag. No thanks. It's honestly disgusting. Yeah, well, you shouldn't smoke. She kicks me on the ankle, hard as she can, and I want to feel it so badly. I'm dead already, remember, she tells me, like I could forget. So that's just the opening of the book there. I have got a flash here. Janet, maybe you could let me know if you want me to read. It's about a 300-word flash, or if...
Yeah, go for it. And then
Okay.
would you mind putting your friend's details up in the chat so folk can maybe have a look for the book themselves?
Yeah, definitely. Jenny's
Thank
actually
you.
got a new book out today, I think, but that one that came out today is middle grade. She does YA and middle grade. So
And
I've
those
got...
of you who've got things out or things you want to advertise, ping it up in the chat, and people can get a note of things from there too. Okay. Thanks, Catherine.
So this is from an anthology from a few years ago by Reflex Fiction, which sadly doesn't operate anymore. They were a great place to submit to, and being picked through the submission process got you a chance to be in their anthologies. So this is called Bruises. You swear you can feel the flesh on your arm bruise as your mother leans her weight on you. The church is only a short walk, but the pavements are white with frost and slick where puddles have frozen. In the park, there's the swish of metal blades cutting and slicing on the frozen pond. A lone ice skater doing tilty turns, figures of 8. Inside the church, your mother removes her hat, displacing her wig. She tugs at it, mumbling about the miseries of hair loss and cancer treatment. She was always a talker, even at a funeral, with its undiluted sense of occasion. You have often wondered if your father left so the sound of her voice could stop ringing in his head. The service starts and your mother silences her own speech for the ministers. She listens to the summary of Maisie James's life, even though she knows every event, every triumph and disaster. Afterwards, you edge out together into the winter afternoon and start the slow walk home, your mother digging her fingers into your opposite arm. You stop at the pond so she can catch her breath, the ice skater gliding in a curved circuit across the glassy oval. I stole her boyfriend once, she says, and surprise makes your mouth into a circle through which your breath plumes into a misty cloud caught by the icy air. She thought she was going to marry him until she saw us kissing, she says, and you wonder, is this my father we're talking about? She slapped me and we never spoke of it again, continues your mother. Not until we ended up next to each other for chemotherapy. Then what did she say, you ask? She says I did her a favour. She leans heavily on your tender arms, and you wonder how much time there is left to ask the unanswered questions. The ice skater has finished now, leaving intertwined lines laced into the ice, which you will know will be gone by tomorrow. Your bruises may last a week or so longer. Thank you very much.
Fantastic work there. And Catherine is really helping us to embrace Flash as is Ellie with the bi-monthly Flash events that Fed are doing. For a lot of folk, it's quite scary, but that was just wonderful. There's just so much in that. Thank you very, very much.
I have to say that's quite an early Flash that I wrote, so I'm not sure it's one I would write now, but it's nice to see it's in print, so there we go.
Well, I suppose that's how you see your journey, isn't it? You know.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's all part of it. Could I please ask if Aidan would read next for us? Would that be okay, Aidan?
If you can hear me, it'll be fine, yeah. Good, okay. So I'm Aidan Semmons. I'm based in Orkney and I'm representing ships, and it's lovely to be with you guys. Thank you. I'd like to read 3 fairly short poems, if that's okay. 2 which will be in my forthcoming book from Shearsman Press, coming out in July, called Signals to the Disappearing Shore, and then 1 slightly more recent one. This is Taste of Peat.
Aidan, can I ask then, are you happy for me to record, given it's not out yet?
Absolutely fine, yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Yeah. From satellite or pilot height, you'll see a continent of smoke, a mountain range of Himalayan scale over Siberia, concealing its own shadow on the smouldering land below. A tundra land awaiting redemption from zombie fires. Down here, where families carved precarious livings from under heather slopes, the peaty smoke of whiskey on the tongue, tastes of ancient woodlands felled and burned, of boglands, sphagnum moss and ling, concealing dark ponds fringed with cotton grass. Here's a coin-bright birch root, remnant of primeval forest, hunting ground of a mythical warrior princess. And here, carefully cut wet then dried, the sculpted modernism of a neatly stacked bank, laid herringbone fashion to repel wind and rain, where a whiff of peat smoke smells like survival. Here, where wetlands are drained of life to make up ground for oats, barley, wheat, asparagus and fine grazing, where forest swamp suffers improvement, rips torn for progress. Ash and oaken piles, aerobically preserved, support remnants of willow walkways, woven paths across the bog, a place to stand ankle deep and watch jets carve their shining trails against the sky. The second one is called Citizenship Test. This is the place where memories are stored, where disarticulated limbs of machinery go to die, piled up and cast aside. This is the place where we queue for canteen lunches of miscellaneous flesh and root bowl in breaks from labouring for little pay at the production line of culture, where we fail to remember the approved word for political contingency or the recipe for blood soup, where the daily news is printed in combustible ink and pulped, unread, the place of ceremony for religions as meaningless and baffling as our own, and as rigorously observed. This is the place of form filling for dutiful posting in dead letter boxes no one will ever open, of registration for one-way excursions to the wasteland of civic regret. This is the place where Odysseus cast his last drachma into the wishing well of loneliness, where Solomon set his seal on the abandoned pasture, and Alexander rained down fatal curses on the heads of the final pharaohs, where swallows make their last stop before the Great Migration, aircraft refuel at military landing strips, and hawkers proffer water carried in cans that once held oil. This is a place of music and silence. Let us rest here a while, as long as our documents are in order. So those two, as I say, will be in my forthcoming book. The next one has appeared already in a small anthology that was done in tribute to the poet Rick Hall. I don't know whether any of you knew Rick or know his work. He died this weekend just gone, which is why I felt it appropriate to read this here tonight. The book was put together, as I say, in tribute to him after he had his diagnosis, his terminal diagnosis, but was done in time for him to see it and appreciate it. He was a poet of Northeast England, and as I am originally. And this is a vision of Cuthbert being the patron saint of Northumbria. It also owes a good deal to another great Northeast England artist who also died earlier this year, my good friend Fenwick Lawson, whose sculpture of St Cuthbert is actually in Lindisfarne Priory, which was where the St Cuthbert was based. So this is a vision of Cuthbert. Cuthbert crouches, leans into the stone, picking out the softest moss that grows in the crevices of the wall, fingering lightly as he goes the wooden cross he whittled and tied with nettle twine, which hangs beneath his rough wool robe. He steps into the marshy land towards the swelling sea, gathering heads of cotton grass to mix in with the moss. Picks his way out to the rocky shore, where an eider sits among the thrift, carefully places his soft harvest between the duck and her nest, before scooping away the down she has plucked from her breast to comfort herself and her eggs. Willingly she submits as he strokes her head, knowing the plants will serve. The drake will follow, strutting close at Cuthbert's heel as he returns to his island cell to stitch the eiders down into a new sewn lining for his robe, warmth for the coming winter, when he will walk the land in search of souls to save. Now he stands at the doorway to the shelter, the drake eider nestled against his leg, gazes out over the pewter sea and sees not the Norse ships he fears, but a far vaster vessel, hulled, it appears, in sharp metal lines, stacked high over the horizon with boxes laden with trade. Now come warships in grey to match the water, huge guns aimed at a foreign future. Now platforms standing out from the waves on giant legs. Now towering structures that glint against the sky, cross-like blades that turn in veneration or despair. Cuthbert turns, leans in again to the stone, and quietly prays. And that's it for me.
That's a fabulous tribute to Rick. I'm sure I probably heard him reading in something that Sheila organised at some point.
Yeah.
I'm sorry for those of you who were close to him and we knew him well. I know a few people have mentioned him this week. It's
Yeah,
a fabulous tribute.
It was Sheila Wakefield who put together the book that I spoke of.
Yeah.
With Ian Brinton.
Thank you very much, and good luck with your own collection. Feel free to put some details about it in the chat for folks.
Thank you.
So, can I move forward to a lady I met the other day for the first time ever? I rattled her lugs about the Fed, and she decided to join us. It's wonderful to have you with us, Lindsay. And let's just say I really, really enjoyed meeting you on Monday night. And this is Lindsay Stewart, who's going to read next for us. Thanks, Lindsay.
Thank you. So yeah, I went to the Falkirk Library spoken word night, not intending to speak, and then at the very last second I jumped up and read a short story. So I'm very, very new to writing. I'm very nervous, but I've got 3 really short poems to read. So the first one, if I'm struggling to find things to write about, I just ask my wife to give me a random prompt. So there's 2 that are prompts from her and one that's about my favourite thing. So this prompt from my wife was, what is normal? My wife doesn't have a favourite dinosaur. Is that normal? I have a favourite dinosaur. Am I normal? I have a favourite number, colour, Disney character, animal, big cat, dog breed, mortuary, genre, author. Am I normal? My wife doesn't have a favourite anything, apart from a favourite wife. Is she normal? Is pink hair normal? Brown hair? Is short hair normal? No hair? Is saying what you mean and meaning what you say normal? Or should you talk in riddles so that people have to guess? Wearing matching socks now, that's normal. My wife wears matching socks. I don't wear matching socks. Do I want to be normal? Do you want to be normal? Normal. Ordinary. Average. Standard. Usual. Boring. Who is normal? Is my neighbour normal? My doctor? My boss? He wears matching socks. Can I ask my boss what his favourite mortuary is? Maybe then I'll know. My boss is quite cool. I think he has a favourite dinosaur. Should I email him? Is it normal to ask someone what their favourite mortuary is on a first date? My wife doesn't think it is. But I asked her and she married me. So does that mean she isn't normal? Or does she just like abnormal? Abnormal. Unusual. Different. Quirky. Interesting. I don't think there is normal. I think if someone had matching socks, no favourites, brown hair, talked in riddles, didn't start 6 hobbies a month, didn't eat raw pasta, only had 1 notebook, was happy to make phone calls, drank a full cup of tea, didn't sleep with a book, liked eye contact and didn't dance in the park, I think they wouldn't be my friend. Is that normal? Should they be my friend? Stiggy Moloch, that's my favourite dinosaur. This next one I just wrote this afternoon, just really, really quickly. We were cooking lunch, and the prompt that I was given was readiness. So this is just hot off the press from this afternoon. I need to wait until I'm ready, you know. I'm too young right now. I wouldn't know what to do. Maturity. That's what I need. You get it, don't you? I've no street sense. Folks say I'm a silly wee lassie. I'm definitely not ready. I think I'll wait until I have a bit more money. I have to scrimp and save right now. No M&S dining for 2 meals for me. There's so much to spend my cash on. Travel, cocktails, TikTok shop for God's sake. In a few years I'll get some savings, then I'll be ready. My job is so good. I want to focus on it. Promotion, get to the top, be the best. Career's important, isn't it? A big part of who I am. I don't want to leave that behind. Who would I be? I'm nowhere near ready. A house, a husband, they're both important. A lovely house, 3 bedrooms, garden, south facing obviously, and a nice handsome husband, or a wife, I'm not fussy, but they will help and then I'll be ready. Now I'm 50, I've lived a wonderful life, saved lots of money, had a solid career, and published, you know. I've travelled, been to 237 gigs. I live in a 4-bedroom house with a garage and a sunroom. My partner, well, they're something special. But I've left it a bit late. I should have done it years ago, you know, when I was ready. And this last one is about my greyhound. So I rescued a greyhound about 6 years ago, and now I'm addicted to rescuing greyhounds. So this is what I wrote about how I think she felt. It's called Number 5. A strange woman, tall, with an odd smell. She kneels down, gives me a treat. I don't take treats from strangers. They might be poison, stop me running fast. I want to go home. We walk round the park, slowly. I am built for speed. I don't know this place. It smells different, it sounds different. People are running past. Not as fast as I can run. Why do we go so slowly? I want to go home. The lady speaks to my handler. I'm standing, muzzled and shaking. She puts me in a tiny van. I only know big vans with cages, crates, lined up by number. I'm number 5. I don't know this small space with only me. I want to go home. This place, it's a thing called inside. I don't know inside. I know cold, cages, sawdust. I know sharing the space with number 4. I'm number 5. I like cold, cages, sawdust. I want to go home. I sleep on the floor. She keeps pointing to blankets, cushions, something fluffy, saying, this is your bed. I want sawdust, cold. I want outside. I want to go home. I wake at 4 a.m. I know the routine. Open the cage, toilet, run round the track, back for food in order. I'm number 5. Where are the others? Why is nobody awake? I don't know what to do. I want to go home. She puts a ball in front of me. I look. I don't know this. I know tracks, cheering, chasing the rabbit, loud men shouting, don't go too slow, don't break your leg. Number 3 broke her leg, and a new number 3 came. I don't know a ball. I want to go home. We went for a walk. I don't know walks. I know training. You sleep, you train, you race, repeat. Why are we walking so slowly? I've got time to sniff. I want to go home. Back from the walk, I don't have to queue. I get a treat, another. I get a belly rub. I don't know gentle touch. I know rough hands, pulling, lifting. I know running, running for my life. How do I do a belly rub? I want to go home. These blankets, though, they are cosy and comfy. Belly rubs make me sleepy and dreamy. I dream of smells, treats, walking for fun. I don't have to walk to a schedule. I don't have to wake to a schedule. Balls are quite good. I'm not number 5. I'm Poppy. I wear jumpers and jammies. I have teddies and toys. I sleep, I eat, I play, repeat. I am loved. Loved even when I'm not fast. Even when all I do is lie upside down on the bed, legs in the air, tongue hanging out. I don't have to win to get a treat. I never have to run again. Not unless I get taken over by the zoom, zoom, zoomies. I want to stay here. I'm finally home. Thank you very much.
Well, Lindsay, I will tell you, by the smiles on the faces there, you've absolutely nailed that reading, lass. You absolutely did.
Thank you.
And the question about mortuary on the first date, yeah, liked it, loved it. I've got a mortuary story, but I'll tell you off camera one time.
Thank you very much.
I was a nurse. I'm not really strange, I promise. So that was fantastic, and just well done for getting it there and doing it. That's what it's all about. So thank you very much. That's your first event. It'll not be your last, I can tell you. Could I please ask now if Donald would read for us? Would that be okay, Donald?
Hello, if you can hear me. Okay. 2 very short poems. Our friend Atu, sculptor and woodcarver, died a couple of weeks ago, and I was asked to read something for his funeral, which is the day after tomorrow. So I wrote this poem for him, and it's called You Begin with the Roughness. I haven't got an epic for Atu, just a few lines out of nothing, for a neighbor and a friend, for a friend he was. I picture him on the bench swing with the smoke curling from his pipe or cigarettes, creating carvings in his head, rough ideas at first, for you begin with the roughness of things. I think of the smoke wreathing and rising, and the fragments, shavings and whittlings and filings and smoothings, all the things that turn a life into something in the end beautiful, something worth having. Excuse me. Second poem is a poem from May Day, which is coming up. I was asked to take part in the May Day celebration. So this is a kind of political poem. The presenter for the event is my friend Kertu, and she spent a year in Chile. So I was thinking of the political background to Chile and of the experience, what they had in Chile. They had the military coup from Pinochet and the overthrow of the democratic government, the overthrow of Salvador Allende. And it so happened that I taught refugees from Chile. I mentioned that here. Oh, it also mentions the Atacama Desert, which is famous for being red and without any rain. So this is called Red Planet. Kertu, you were in Chile, where they have the Atacama Desert, which is said to be like the planet Mars, where the sand and rocks are red, like on the red planet. I had students who were refugees from Chile. Some of them had suffered at the hands of Pinochet's military police. Students, activists, communists, anti-fascists, men and women, ordinary folk. They were good people, and wherever they are now, I wish them well, still with the spirit of Allende and of the Atacama, making the earth, wherever they walk, a little more red. Thank you.
Thank you, Donald. That is a gorgeous tribute you have penned for your friend. It's a hard thing to do. I've done it for both my parents' funerals, and that is an absolutely gorgeous tribute you've penned. Thank you very, very much for sharing it with us. Thank you. Could I ask Ellie, would you be able to read for us next, please?
Yes, thanks for everyone who's read so far. It's been lovely. As the owner of a greyhound, that's the reason I had such a big smile when I was listening to that one. I'm going to do a piece of flash, seeing as Catherine has been giving us advice, which has been very helpful. So this is called Flying. Life was too short to peel a potato, let alone grow one in the garden. This shared seaside garden was for summer soirees and afternoon teas. In the winter, friends and neighbours were invited over for movie nights in what had formerly been the outside stone wash house. Money in the pursuit of friendship was no object. As it was summer and the evenings were warm, the garden was decked out for an impromptu soiree, but the kind where gathering meant weathered skin and strappy t-shirts, Birkenstocks and shorts rather than sophistication and sophistry. Neighbours as friends worked in this block. The trestle table, now erect, resplendently decked out in plastic-coated picnic red gingham, had salad dishes of various pasta and potato offerings. Plastic plates and glasses twinkled under pulsating fairy lights, and music emanated from the open garden room bifolds. Unusually, this gathering was for the 4-in-a-block flat owners only. They could sometimes have the whole street invited, resulting in dozens heaving themselves up to dance on the sloped grass when conversations and wine petered out. 4 flats, 4 couples, much more intimate. The music was old school, even if it was a Spotify version. Heart of Glass, We Will Rock You, Wuthering Heights. It was 1978 all over again. They held hands and meandered through the iron gate at the end of the path and crossed the road to enjoy the sunset. Agnes pushed the chair in case John tired, but ironically he seemed to have a second wind. His face had more colour than usual for him these days. She wasn't sure if it was excitement or exertion. She'd flung a blanket over the back of the chair in case he became chilled, but he was animated, arms outstretched as he pretended to be a bird in flight. Not long now, Agnes. I'll be flying high with fulmars and gulls. They sat on the wall, separating shore from prom, as a half-sun glittered on the horizon and the cloudless sky darkened, the last of the birds coming home to roost. This poem I wrote for my own writing group, which meets every second Monday night at Dundonald Castle. The prompt for it, funnily enough, was the meteors, and one in particular, which happened on the July 3rd, 2025, when a bright meteor fireball streaked across the sky over Glasgow and Scotland in the early hours, about 10 to 1 in the morning, which produced a loud bang and a brilliant orange light. So this poem is called 4 Seconds. Explosions over Glasgow. An after midnight sun turns atomic tangerine. A meteor rushes and rages across coal black. A seething contrail east to west, rumbling, shaking those below awake. 4 seconds later, a fading green trail is all that remains amidst dreamy confusion. In a foreign land, missiles cascade and tear through the sky. A fading green trail is all that remains as life is nightmarishly extinguished. And I'm going to finish with a poem by Nuala Watt. It's called Sonnet for a Second Child. And I came across this poem for the first time on Tuesday, and I found it very moving. Your sister is the person in the air who has a whole wide life. Away you go. I was expecting you, but now I know the scope of infancy, and I don't dare. My love, I have no motherhood to spare. My body misses milk and wants to stow another child inside itself, but so I choose my settled child. This is your share. Believe me, I would love to know and hold you in the flesh, but we will stay apart. Your dad and I can kettle sperm, track days, Listen, my love, I'm on the edge of old. So, no blue plus signs. Go away, dear heart. I hope this painful pesterings a phase. Thank you.
Oh, Ellie, that's just gorgeous. Just you've covered so much of human emotion and aging and worry and concerns and the gifts of life and all that you've read there. And when we think ourselves and then we think about these meteors, and we see the size of us compared to the size of the universe, it just makes you stop and think. Thank you very, very much. Could I ask if Laurie would be our next reader, please?
Sorry, wrong button. I've unmuted and I put my video back on. Absolutely brilliant readings tonight. It's a pleasure to be here, and I think it's a great idea to have this collaboration. Love to hear all your work. I should have followed Janet's idea of choosing a favourite poem, which changes by the day, but it's usually one by Douglas Dunn. But instead I'm going to read three of my own. So if you don't mind, a couple of them I think are going to be in the next Candyman's Trumpet, and the other one I'm trying to get somewhere. So if you don't mind turning off the record, just to be on the safe side, I'm not sure.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Thank you. I selected 3 poems for tonight, and they all have been published. So this first one is with Whitefire words, and I'm gonna read it. First day. I head to the kitchen, open the fridge, and in a corner I see yellow liquid turning into orange. My eyes twitch. The glass filling up, I hear the sweet music of pouring. This flowery scent, immediate pleasure. My heart feels loved. The cold icy feeling of numbness hits my tongue. My body refreshed with this unique joy of drinking orange juice. Now for the second one, that's with the Poetry Lighthouse. Railway run in Edinburgh. I'm late, so I'm running through Edinburgh, the sun going away, from the castle to Haymarket, trying to catch a train. The streets are narrow and full of people. Red lights force stop traffic. Wish I had a bike. As cars stand still, I can smell their sweet perfume. And fresh bread from a bakery. I hear the fierce trumpets fire. I'm flying. That's how it feels. See the blue sky from the corner of my eye, and then catch a glimpse of a train moving. And the final poem is in green ink poetry, painted by nature. When spring starts breathing, splendid colors come in vivid. Nature takes its invisible brush and creates a carpet full of art. Snowdrops lift their tiny heads, white dots proudly on the ground. Daffodils paint the world yellow, their tops majestically risen. But crocuses win the prize, pink, yellow, white, and lilac in full bloom. Love to see a happy surprise. That's my poems, and it was great to hear everyone else's pieces tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Angie. Feel free to put any links to any magazines in the chat. I love the way you always have such a detailed eye Absolutely wonderful detail, Di. And yeah, the daffies or whatever might look good, but boy, those crocuses show up and they give you their full splendour. And it's lovely at this time of year to see all the gardens and the verges coming back to life after it's been a long winter. So thank you very, very much. Could I ask Roddy, would you read for us next, please? Thank you very much.
Hello, can you all hear me? I can't see everybody.
That's a yes, Roddy.
Yeah, I'm gonna read 3 poems. I might read. I've been looking at all the stuff I could read, but I'm having to make a choice here. But I'd just like to promote this just here. It's called Tools of the Trade. Earlier on, Ellie Ness mentioned Noella Watts. Noella Watts is in this book. It's the Poems for New Doctors, Tools of the Trade. I can't recommend it enough. It's an absolutely beautiful book of poems. So this is the size that fits into doctors' white coats into their pockets. This isn't Noella Watts, but she's got 3 excellent poems in here. But this is a poem by Rachel Bingham, who is a doctor. So there's several doctors' poems in this. It's really incredible as a book. This was 2025, this edition. This one's called Bedside Teaching. No one steps forward. We look at the floor. He picks me. What can you feel? Tentatively, I press down on her abdomen, the loose skin, lost curves, hard and craggy ruins beneath. My heart sinks into her diseased belly. No time left to think. What is your diagnosis? Don't make me say it. Everybody knows. What is your diagnosis? Not in front of her. She watches me burn. I won't say cancer. Not here. Think hard. It could be eyebrows raised, eyes turn. I need a technical term. It escapes like a mouse dropped by a cat. It could be a malignancy. And I am a fool. Mitotic disease, he corrects. We must employ some euphemisms. And I hope you don't mind that this has been published. I wasn't too sure about reading this out, but I've decided it's okay. So Angie Bothan's been published by Poetry Lighthouse. These are I've got 4 poems, French poems translated into English, and this one's by Louis Aragon. Sorry, not Louis Aragon. This one's by Baudelaire. So it's a 19th century poem, and I'm going to read out the French, then I'm going to read out the English translation, which I've had published. So it's called Le crépuscule du matin, Charles Baudelaire. La Diane chantait dans les cours des casernes, et le vent du matin soufflait sur les lanternes. C'était l'heure où les âmes des rêves malfaisants tordent sur leurs oreillers les brins adolescents. Ou comme un œil sanglant qui palpate et qui bouge, la lampe sur le jour fait une tache rouge, où l'âme, sous le poids du corps revêche et lourd, imite les combats de la lampe et du jour. Comme un visage en pleurs que les brises essuient, l'air est plein du frisson des choses qui s'enfuient, et l'homme est las d'écrire et la femme d'aimer. Les maisons, ça et là, commençaient à fumer. Les femmes de plaisir, la paupière livide, bouche ouverte, dormaient de leur sommeil stupide. Les pauvresses traînaient leurs seins maigres et froids, soufflaient sur leurs tisons et soufflaient sur les doigts. C'était l'heure où parmi le froid et la lessine s'aggravent les douleurs des femmes en gessine, comme un sanglot coupé par un son écumeux. Le chant du coq au loin déchirait l'air brumeux. Une mer de bruyère baignait les édifices, et les agonisants dans les fonds des hospices poussaient leur dernier râle en hoquet anigo. Les débauchants rentraient, brisés par leurs travaux. L'aurore grelottante, en robe rose et verte, s'avançait lentement sur la Seine déserte, et le sombre Paris, en se frottant les yeux, empoignait ses utiles, vieillard labreux. So I translated this to the morning's gloaming. The bugles' reveille cried out in barrack squares. The morning's wind blew on the lanterns bare. Swarms of evil dreams at that hour of the day make dark youths twist fists in pillows and pray. Or like the bleeding eye that quivers and moves, the lamp that is day stains red, uncouth. When the soul, under a surly, heavy body's weight, mirrors the fight of the day and the day's fate, like a tearful face wiped by the winds, the air is swept by things shivering in flight. Man is weary of writing, woman of love's light. Here and there, houses started puffing smoke. Ladies of pleasure, mouths open, eyelids ghastly and pale, were asleep under stupid slumber's slopes. Poor women dragging about thin, cold breasts, blue on their fingers or blue on their hands at best. It was the hour when, among the cold, pinching thrift, awful pain fell to women roiling in childbirth's grip. Like some sob cut with foaming blood, the cockerel's crass cry tore the dank air in floods. A sea of fog enveloped all the buildings, and the agonized dying, lying in the depths of hospitals, released a final, rattling, gasping breath. The knights, debauched, returned home crushed by their toils. The trembling dawn in a dress of pink and green advanced slowly up the river Seine unseen, and a sombre Paris, rubbing hard his eyes, grasped his tools, full of sour, work-soiled sighs. And the last poem, if you don't mind putting the recording off, it's not been published yet. I just wrote it the other day, last week.
Really fun and do this together. The first one I'm reading is called Bessie Dunlop. It's about Bessie Dunlop, who's burned as a witch in Dalry down south. And Laurie was actually at Seahorse with us last year when I wrote it to perform there. And so it's nice to see you again, Laurie. So I'll do this one first. River rocks cut like ice in the winter. My feet feel shreds. The water chopping past stones, the voice of the river, drowned me out by the crackle of fire warming for me. A spark licks the air, inviting my freedom. My bones taut, my body a naked tree for the axe. My truth, the rope to tie around my neck. My honesty, the match that lit this bonfire of blame. And then I actually just found out today that this next one is going to be published in a new magazine, Eontis, that's coming out of Ireland. It's a nature magazine. So if you could turn the recording off for this one, that would be great. Thank you.
Section, The Bone Folder, which was published by Drunk Muse Press in 2024, and to my great delight was shortlisted in the Saltires this last year. And I'm saying this to everybody who has said, oh, I've just started writing poetry. I started writing poetry in 2021. And because of the great support of the community of poets in Scotland, in the Federation, and beyond, I was really encouraged in my writing and in sharing my poetry. So, and I was approached to have a collection published. So it does happen. And it is wonderful to have that affirmation. And I really, really, really wish it with warmest wishes for everybody here. I'll also read 2 new poems. They have been published, but they're going to be part of my forthcoming second collection, which is hopefully being published next spring. Okay.
To that end, then, do you want me to stop the recording?
No, it's fine. They're both already out in the world.
you.
Thanks for asking. Okay. Well, I'll crack on. I dream of you, Matt Damon, in the radiotherapy suite at Rigmore. And we are on the Ullapool bus, pale famished, rough folded into seats once plush, velvet, red burnished to rust. Uncertain like the ringed blue of your eyes, uncanny hue. Spacesuit silvered, brow pressed to a weak scalped window. You doze, I soothe, say, it is October, and in Massachusetts, which I cannot spell, it is fall. And yes, I know, Westeros does seem like Mars. We waken having never slept, watch the bog burn ungodly, crimson, maple, scarlet. The hills still waiting their own shadows. Dawn is but a scratch in the lift above the fish road when I begin my confession that I am like you now, Matt, plucked from gravity, fixed in a beam of linear acceleration. This weary ship, only the shape of rotated air. I'd like to tumble too, flee these robotic arms, turn earthwise with you. In an hour, our eyes will soar with a kite, see steam breathe through flitted peat, hollowed as hinds' hooves quicken the moss. At Glascarnach, the moon is a flipped dime. Her sisters sink to fill the spills between sphagnum and silence. We'll drink them, Matt, in cobalt glasses. Let Strathdirry lean all her healing into us. Each star a radiant abscission in the arms of an unclad birch. Thank you. That poem was published in The Marrow, which is a fabulous journal edited by Audrey Malloy and Dara Byrne in Australia. They have a submissions window open currently, and I would really encourage you to both read the journal and to think about sharing your work there. This next poem is from the Bone Folder, and it was a wee Scotsman poem of the week at one point. There's a word in the poem, sashiko. It's a Japanese term used to describe the beautiful decorative embroidery which it is traditional to employ when repairing cloth that is apparently past its use, but made beautiful, as is the practice in so many Japanese crafts, made beautiful and useful again. Sashiko means little stabs in English. Little stabs. My surgeon says she will make of me sashiko, use little stabs and patch the worn cloth of my belly with tender decoration. She traces a line, sternum, into the softness of me. It is, I imagine, a soothe for a sleepless child. Her finger crescents my navel, preserves the umbilicus, as if it is needed for another nativity. In truth, she will birth from me 3 fruits, each overripe and too rich for this body. Together, we know she cannot simply repair wind-fallen flesh, but must burnish it with thread honeyed from apple blossom, returning me golden. Thank you. The final poem I'm going to read won the Maclellan Prize last year, and I have to say, when they phoned me, to tell me that the poem had won, I was in the middle of a field in Belladrum with about 30,000 people at a festival around me, and I didn't quite hear properly, and in one of those situations where I wasn't sure that I'd heard correctly, it took me about a week to get the confirmation about the poem. So it was a kind of fretful week because I was worried that there might have been a call about something that was wrong about the poem and its entry. Anyway, very happily, it was a poem that I was able to share with people as the poem that had won. There's also a reference in this poem to the Himba, who are a people, a traditional people in Africa, who are known for not seeing or recognizing the color blue. Rather, they have many greens in their color palette. The firth, blue as a blackbird's egg, and we are mapless, as if we'd plummeted without north, adrift from some forgotten planet. Unrolling the relict road home, hedged by prickling whins, this blue hour, a tender canopy, and all of the sky resting its reds, rayleigh scatters of the sun settling until only a scart of jasper, scarlet curlew, fades, wester, leaving us flax flower, blue, small, heath butterfly wings, furnaced azurite, that curved note of grief sprackling the throat, wail. As we flit the oncologist, looking for the way out sign, bent to that hush of corridor, grey-blue, lonely forget-me-not, wee titmouse back. I ask, will this be the last colour I see? You, your eyes, verditer, the steady of iron, reminding me that the butter-fatted Himba, like Homer, have no words for the colour of this vault that harrows us. Scudding clouds spill new wetness as we begin again. Practice other ways for knowing this strewed light. Gentian, borage, blaeberries, full radiant, the wings of a jay. Thank you very much. What a pleasure to read with you all tonight and to have heard all your beautiful poems. So I will just put that information about regathering in the chat. Thank you, Janet, for being such a gracious and glorious host with us as well. It's been a lovely evening.
Thank you all so much. Quite, you know, I was a nurse for decades, and you and I've had conversations, and your ability to put things on paper and in words and in hearts just is astounding, my darling girl. It absolutely is. Please put the stuff in about the regathering. If I can get up in my van, I will. If I can persuade the other half in the dog, if we can tape the dog's gob shut long enough so he doesn't bark all the way through it, we'll be doing brilliantly. I'm joking. Honestly, those of you that are also dog lovers out there. It's been a great wee night. I'm so looking forward to more stuff with Ships. Tell your folks about all your pals and folk about the Fed and Ships and the work we're doing, because it's getting folk reading, it's getting folk connecting. We're all over the place tonight. It's not just in Scotland. We've got Donald there in Finland listening in too. And I do hope that things go as well as they can for you at your friend's funeral later in the week. Donald, it's always a difficult time. God bless you. Thank you very much, everybody. Quite, you got a chance to put that in there? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you all so much. Take care of yourselves, folks. Good night.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.
Good night, Akiva.
Bye. Brilliant. Thank you.